Yeah, it's a very, very quick time, Joe, but we do have some quick drivers that haven't put that in. I'm looking down there at Wager, Luke Sutton, Eric Evans. Paul Wildridge has had some good runs here. So here's Baron Glover as he comes his way over through the Subidos boxes there and comes around this curving pit straightaway. Owen Mclaughlin bumps his way up into 4th place right now. There's Randy Gross up into 16th. I'm seeing Baron Glover bump into 7th. Still waiting on a time. There's Jonathan Wager to the tune of a 132.5.
Wow, first driver to break under the 133s, and by some margin. Blake Ziti up next, gets himself into 16th with a 34.1. And Bergstrom and Ficcadetti are on a mission today. Both have managed to get onto the 2nd row just now. Ficcadetti unfortunately spun it through the Senna S, so this next lap not going to be quite that hot for him. That means we're only waiting on Sutton, Wildridge, Cristelli, and Evans to set a time, but I don't see Sutton or Evans on the track yet.
Nor do I. There is Blake Ziti. Great camera angle here provided by Dougie Beard. You really get a sense of just how much this track sort of crosses over on itself. This infield section is just so tight and twisting. And frankly, when you're driving it, you really don't feel like it because there's such elevation changes you go up and down here. Here is one of the drivers that you mentioned. Hasn't set a time yet. Paul Wildridge, Eagle Vision Racing. Remember, they are leading the championship right now, so Paul's going to want to get a good time here.
Better hurry up because we've only got 3 minutes left. Stetzel, who was briefly on the pole, didn't improve that time by out of the junction. Wildridge now climbing up the hill. His first 2 laps got deleted. Easy to try and push the boundaries a little too hard at this track with some paved runoff areas because it is a Formula One circuit. And as he flies towards the timing line, he finally gets one. It's a 34.5, but that only puts him at a 24th.
That's not going to be great for him, but Jonathan Wager just continuing to be the class of the field. He's able to put in a 32.488 to go even faster. Behind him, Daniel Knight able to bump his way up into 5th. But that is a full 9/10 of a second off of your leader.
Ficcadetti just came out of the junction himself. I'm keeping an eye on the 4 car. See what he can put down here as we watch the sun glare into the face of Wildridge out of the Descida del Lago. And unfortunately, Ficcadetti had that lap deleted.
He'll get one more bite at the apple here as we've only got about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left here. And remember, you do not get to finish your hot laps. So they will have to just push as hard as he can. But regardless, I've got to think Ficcadetti will be happy with the P3, but he would love to get up onto that starting row with both ahead of Beau Phil.
4th lap about to be completed by Stetzel. He's all the way down in 8th. Is this going to be any quicker? No, it's not. He stays 13th. Cowgill improves with a 33.7. That'll put him into 14th spot. A lot of cars coming across the line right now. Cristelli, 33.6 that time. That will not get him up any higher. In fact, he's 1,000th away from Pim Luth there in 12th position. What about Hoskins down here in 24th? That lap deleted. He's got just enough time to try and get one last one in.
I think the same is going to be true for Daniel Knight, who just crossed over the line. 4th place, Alex Bergstrom, maybe right on that cutoff, and indeed he is going to park it. Blake Ziti there, not going to be able to do any better than 20th. Here comes Neil Alexander, Parabola Racing Cobalt driver. Remember, they are 4th in the team's points championship right now. He takes that car out of the junction, up through the Subidos boxes, and tries to get better than a 25th place position.
Ficcadetti just took his last lap, and it's a 33.1 front row for the 4 car. Alexander to the line, sitting in 25th spot, and will go no higher than that, unfortunately. Carmody's going to be the next one to take his final flyer. He sits in 7th, has about half a tenth to try and catch up to Hellberg in front of him. The black, white, and red machine does not improve, so he'll stay P7. And how about Beau Phil, another driver who was up at the top spot for a little while? Can he take the front row back?
He's going to be he's going to come on into the pits here, Joe. So that is going to be no better than third place for Beau Phil. I see Joe Mclaughlin coming across the line. Looks like he came to a crawl as he crossed it, so I don't think that's going to count for him. Here is Brian Hoskins. It looks like the 15th place car of Randy Gross coming into the pits. Hoskins going to complete this lap. Is he going to go faster? No! By 1,000th of a second, he won't.
And I don't see any more cars that can qualify, so that means our grid is now set. And it's a decent amount of cars that are going to be out here with Jonathan Wager at the points. Amaro Ficadenti will start in P2 with Rafael Bofill in third. Alex Bergstrom will start from fourth. You've got Daniel Knight coming in to start P5, and Leif Hellberg starts from sixth. And it's Sharon Carmody in seventh. John Stetzel kept falling down the times, even though he started out strong. He wound up eighth. Owen Mclaughlin ninth, and Baron Glover rounds out your top 10.
In 11th, it's going to be Charles Sumner, followed by Pim Luth, and behind them, it'll be David Cristelli and Patrick Cowgill. Row 8 will be Randy Gross, followed by Spencer Semkowicz, with 17th place Joe McCauley and 18th being Mark Feil. Peter Lee will be 19th, and rounding out your top 20, it's Blake Seedy.
Barry Cochran starts 21st. Then it's Lawson Christie in P22. Yannick Belleville will start from 23rd. To his outside, it is Brian Hoskins. Neil Alexander starts 25th. And then it's Paul Wildridge in 26th place. Last two to set times was Jordan Walker and David A. Bear. Evans and Sutton are both on the grid, so it's looking like we'll get all 30 drivers starting here for round 5 in the PRL Ferrari Challenge. Now, don't forget, this is the first in a double header this evening. We have the PRL GT Amateur Series coming up at this same track here tonight. And that should be a fun one because the Pro and Ams have been very closely contested in those two classes so far this season as we watch them lining up here on the grid. It looked like it was tough enough for the Pro guys last night, DJ. We saw a lot of offs and spins and errors. Is this going to prove pretty difficult for the Ferrari drivers?
I think it will, Joe. This new Ferrari Evo that iRacing has put out is a lot like its predecessor in the 488, that it is still a very well-rounded, all-around good car. But Interlagos just loves to catch you napping. As I said, through that second sector, it is so easy to be a little bit over-aggressive with the long, almost double apex corners that you come through there, the hairpins. It wants you to get on the throttle a little bit earlier than you should, and that results in a little bit of tire spin, the rear end stepping out on you. So you've got to be very, very careful. It's also one of those areas that throughout the whole track that you think you can make a pass, but the braking zone's just not there, and if you get a little over-eager, it'll send you right off into the grass or the runoff.
Well, coming out of the junction, the Porsche pace car is going to be giving way to Jonathan Wager. He's won 3 out of the 4 races. And the main reason he didn't win the last one was partly because he pitted at a time that unfortunately was disadvantageous, just lost time in the pit stop. And the other reason was Eric Luke was actually mighty fast that day, but we do not have Eric here. So is there nobody that can challenge Wager? We'll find out. Bofill and Ficadenti certainly will want to try and see if they can take the fight to him as the green flag is out, and it's a good jump for Jonathan Wager. Behind them, they all start to swap sides, coming down to the right-hand side of the track, trying to break for the start of the Senna S. And oh, we got some contact up for third place. That's Ficadenti going around, trying to get it back straight, and someone plows into the barrier. Ficadenti gets hit again, and more cars pile in.
Oh my goodness, that was the 66 having a big run through the grass there as well. I'm seeing Ficadenti, Lee, all off there in the back, potentially Walker, and more contact as they come out of the Curva del Sol.
Looks like Walker involved in that in the 9. Just a unfortunate start, but this track is no stranger to melees at the beginning of races, even with the professionals here.
Very much so, Joe. The way that Senna S goes is the banking on it, the curvature of it, the camber. It is just bananas. Very tricky, especially on cold brakes, and very easy to lock up and get the car squirrely.
So what this has done is allowed Wager and Beaufil start to pull away from Knight, who is now promoted into third. We're on board with Raphael. He's already a whole second behind two, so seems to have been held up slightly by that himself. Then it finally starts to get a little bit closer behind him. Carmody, Stetzel, and Glover have a little bit of a fight as they come past Subidos dos Boxes to complete the first lap. We had another car off, looks like Cristelli. And who else is that? Bergstrom.
It is Bergstrom.
Oh, and I think that was out of the junction. So unfortunately, a couple drivers finding the boundaries of the track where it isn't paved a little bit tricky. Other than that, I see only Owen McLaughlin and Randy Gross having to take to pit lane from this first lap. Look at Stetzel all over the back of Carmody. This is for fourth place.
And he tried to move going down through the Senna S, backed out of it through the first part, and now he gets that run down the Retro Aposta and going down into Cida del Lago. Later on the brakes and into the inside is John Stetzel, moves right on ahead. Good textbook maneuver there from the 13.
Just a tiny little wiggle of the tail from Stetzel, but he holds it steady. Glover gained a lot of time out of that. And he is now sizing up the number 40 machine as well. We ride on board with Cowgill, who's a few spots back in ninth. He's giving chase on Pim Luth at the same time. He's keeping half an eye on Sumner behind.
Yes, he is, and that's one of the things here that you've really got to watch out for. You can see those drivers running around the curbs as well, is that this is an area, if you try to make an attack and fail, you will be open to assault from behind, so they've got to be very, very careful where they make their moves.
Think we've got an opportunity now. Looks like things have cooled out a little bit. Why don't we take a look at that replay from the opening wreck? Starting off with Ficadenti being hit, and I'm trying to remember who actually made the contact with him. Going checking myself. That would be, looks like Daniel Knight actually that made the contact. You're going to see him in the yellow and black behind him, and things just get a little tight as it comes down into the corner, and unfortunately from there it's just it's a chain reaction. It's hard to avoid getting into trouble.
Yeah, there you can see that contact with Knight. Ficadenti tries to gather it back under him. That's Charles Sumner, I believe, that makes a little bit of a bump with him that sends him around again. And, ooh, that's a big thwap there from the 24 of Peter Lee.
I can report that Ficadenti has gotten back in the pit lane to get some repairs and is back out, but unfortunately he is a lap down. We're on board with Leif Hellberg right now, currently sitting in the 7th spot in the midst of a train of about 5 here, being led by Carmody, who still sits in 5th.
Yeah, Carmody was able to withstand a little bit of an attack from Baron Glover going down through the Senna S. There is Glover on the center of your screen. But like I talked about, that stacked up the rest of the field, bringing Hellberg, Luth, and Cowgill really into this picture. So what's going to be interesting now is they make their way out of those final corners and into the junction. Ooh, keep an eye here on Leif Hellberg. He was able to carry some good speed into the junction. Looks like he's losing a little bit, but he'll be close enough to take a massive draft off the rear end of that 93.
He's looking to try and catch up here along the front stretch. And as he starts to gain, I don't think he's going to have enough straightaway, unfortunately. So as Hellberg hits the brakes, he's going to have to try again later.
Yeah, and that is one of the problems of the junction there, Joe, is it is pretty much a 90-degree left-hander, although it doesn't really look like it because the track curves upwards as it goes along. But you've really got to slow the car down a lot more than you think you do. If you carry a lot of speed into the corner, you'll scrub it off on corner exit, and that can cost you down that long straight.
Down out of the Cida del Lago once again, and getting close to the back of Glover. Hellberg is starting to put some pressure on here, but he's not close enough to pull that sneak attack into Esse. Sometimes we'll see passes into there, but certainly not this lap, and now things slow up as they weave back and forth, coming up to the Duck's Bill. Hard hairpin down to the right with quite a bit of embankment.
It was a good run there for Sean Carmody. He was able to carry a lot of speed on exit. All right, here they come again into the junction. Now let's watch the speed coming in and see who can get that power on. Everybody running a pretty good line there. Ooh, looks like a little bit of a twitch for Baron Glover as he came back onto the asphalt. But these cars separating out nicely. Everybody about 0.3 of a second, although Glover is closing on Carmody in front. This could be a move.
He's almost getting beside him. He's going to have to brake pretty late, it looks like, and he does. Manages to get the overlap, but he starts to fade out. Oh, and Carmody just avoids going off into the grass. Good heads up from him, but he loses a spot.
And look out behind there. That checkup forced Leif Hellberg to hit the brakes a little bit, and Pim Luth started to get very, very happy about it. But we look back here. Oh, this is Blake Ziti. Blake Ziti off, coming out of the Carta del Sol.
Yeah, I heard some chatter on the radio, and it looks like, oh, Macaulay gets into the side of Blake when he spins here into the Senna S. Yeah, it's so hard to tell what exactly is going on over that blind crest, and unfortunately, I think Blake had to take a tow once he figured out that the car was just too damaged. We come back once again to what has been one of our best fights in the race thus far, which is still for 5th. Glover ahead of Carmody with Hellberg, Pim, and Patrick in there.
Yeah, it's still a pretty good battle, although this is a little bit what we saw out of John Stetzel when he was able to get by Carmody. Joe, I think Carmody here has a little bit of the cork in the bottle. Ooh, big step out from behind there from Leif Hellberg. He got very squirrely coming out of the exit of the junction. This could be the attack moment for Pim Luth now to get on forward.
Let's see. Looks like he's got a good opportunity, and Hellberg does defend. He knows he's got to try and fight back here. Breaks deep into the Senna S, the 52. Looks like he's going to be able to retain that. Luth, though, could get another bite of the apple out of the curve of the Sol. Let's see what kind of exit he gets, and doesn't seem like it's quite enough.
No, I don't think it is. Luth will be getting a little bit of an advantage of what ostensibly amounts to a triple draft in front of him, but that's just not a long enough run down the Retro Aposta to really get anything done. You have got to have full commitment there. Oh, but that's Hellberg running wide. Luth tries to make a look down to the inside there, but nothing happening. Now they're going to maybe think about side by side coming up the hill. Luth is going to try to send it around the long way. Big on the brakes, able to save that car under him. Oy, 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 the improper racing driver having a whole bunch of fun out there.
He got very close to making some contacts. This battle for 5th is now extended all the way back, it looks like, to Spencer Simkovich in 12th spot. Look at this.
Yeah, it's a massive train. And John Stetzel, by the way, who was able to get ahead of Carmody early on, he's about 5 seconds up the road from all of this. So some big speed by Stetzel. He's got to be very thankful he got out of this scot-free.
You see all the cars just in a row up past the sunset here in Brazil. But Carmody and Glover are starting to get themselves some distance, so they're probably feeling a little more comfortable at this stage. Will it become a battle for 7th instead? That would be Hellberg right now in that spot.
Yeah, that would be Hellberg. Don't count out Patrick Calgill here, who we ride on board with. I think Pim Luth was a little bit gun-shy going into the Senna S after what we saw on that last lap. Checked himself up a little bit, and that may allow for Calgill to have some fun and try to get a move done here in that yellow and black 31 machine.
Ooh, a little bit of a look from the 40 there you saw on the screen. Coming into the Interlagos, was not able to get side by side, but he gave it a shot at the very least, and is trying to threaten Baron Glover into a mistake. The 93 just in front of him, taking a very different line comparatively to what we see from Carmody. And Carmody goes a little wide, nearly opens the door for Hellberg, who can't quite get through.
No, Helberg not able to make the pass, and once again, that checkup bringing Pim Luth back into the perspective. That's Helberg running a little bit of a shallower line there, going through the duckspill. Oh, and now look at this. Patrick Cowgill starting to smell some blood in the water. Joe, every time I think a pass is about to get made, it doesn't, and then it looks like another one's going to pop up behind it.
As we often talk about this, seems like these cars lend themselves to something of a domino effect where everybody behind starts to get a chance. They try to pounce. If it doesn't go right, well, prepare to have to defend. As here we go, Cowgill on Luth. Luth holds the inside. Cowgill looking for the long way around. High, wide, and handsome. Can the 31 get this one done? The improper racing car goes way deep into the corner and says, no, you don't, not for now. Behind them, looks like Simkovic just got File, and Alexander got Cochran.
And Joe, Cowgill was able to get Luth. It looks like Luth wasn't able to get the car slowed up under him, and Cowgill was able to slip on by.
Wow, everything happening all at once. And Carmody and Glover are now side by side. Everybody is going for it. There you see him coming out of 4 and 5 down into the horseshoe. Carmody's around the outside, though. He's going to have to be very brave on this one. Look at them fight wheel to wheel through the double apex right-hander as we watch from the view of Helberg. The inside once again going to Baron Glover. They're almost going to bang doors. They still manage to keep it pointed forward. Now back into the next corner, and then streaming off the corner. It looks like finally Carmody is clear. He tries to cover up, but no, not giving it up. Baron Glover gets his nose in once again. Does this keep going through Mergulo? It does keep going. How long are they going to stay side by side?
I don't know, Joe, but they're still side by side into the junction. It looks like Carmody's got a little bit of a leg ahead, and that's going to do it. And here comes Helberg now with a pass.
He was waiting for that moment. He knew the car would clear an opening for him at some point, and so does Cowgill. Cowgill gets his foot in the door. Can he demote him 3 places? Whoa, Cowgill, I don't know what was going on there. Weaving in a straight line, and somebody, Pim Luth, goes into the pits as these 3 come into the Senna S, and it looks like Cowgill can't get it done. Baron Glover trying to fight back. He doesn't want to lose this. Oh, he gets tipped around with some contact with Patrick.
Oh, and that has got to be absolutely devastating there for Baron Glover, ending what was a truly epic lap-long fight. Let's check out some of this replay, Joe.
And I have to say, there goes Pim Luth. That was the smartest decision, I think, of anybody. He saw what was going on and said, you know what, I'm going to keep out of trouble because it feels like danger is approaching. And he was right, because just the littlest touch, unfortunately, just didn't anticipate how slow Glover would come off the corner, and Cowgill sent him facing the wrong way.
Yeah, we're going to ride on the hood here with Patrick Cowgill. There you can see Helberg down to the inside. That cut back there tries to get on the binders. I would call that a racing incident. Patrick just trying to wind the car up, but these are heavy GT3s, and getting onto the binders and do a full stop is very difficult.
I just noticed that Ficadenti has been in the pits again for about 7 minutes. I'm not sure if he had a second incident or what is going on there, but it's looking like it's not going to be a good day for him in the end. As we come back up the hill, Cowgill still in the fight. He's still got Helberg in front of him. Carmody hasn't been able to scamper off all that much himself. And as we jump back to the battle for 9th, Simkovic now sees Mark File getting very big in the mirrors as we watch from the rear bumper. Looks like File's going to be able to take the inside away. Can he complete the pass? Simkovic doesn't fight that one too hard, and that makes him vulnerable to Alexander, but is able to shut the door as we go back again. And now it's side by side between Hoskins and Wildridge. This is Wildridge we're on board with down across, and unfortunately loses touch a little bit there. Has to catch the car. We go 3 wide coming out of the curve to Sol. Hoskins to the middle, and now to the inside is behind him. Christie decides to lift to stay out of this. Hoskins not deep enough on the brakes. Wildridge tries to come back at it, and it's going to continue on once again.
Oh, and there you thought for a second there, Christie thinking about making it 3 wide. Now they're going to go Noah's Ark style, as that, I believe, is Alex Bergstrom getting involved in this. So here they go, 2 by 2 up the hill. Who's going to be the latest of the late breakers, Joe?
Wildrich has the inside into Essa. Oh, and Hoskins has to give way because Christie sends it deep. Unfortunately, can't get the grip through the corner, spins the wheels, falls back, and now the battle goes back to Ian Bergstrom.
And a good late on the brakes there from Bergstrom, but he's got to go the long way around. Almost thought about a crossover, but he's now going to have the advantage here as they come down through that left-hander. He's got it.
Whew. That was some wild stuff, and all for about 12th down to 16th place as we come back to Hellberg now. And these drivers have once again closed in together. They've gained up on the rear bumper of Carmody. They brought Calgill with them. Charles Sumner's been kind of clinging there at the back. Can't seem to get as tight as he'd like to be.
No, he really can't really pull in there. He's about a second or so back right now. Ooh, better run there for Hellberg. We're going to jump back here. This is Semkowicz trying to make a move on Alexander, going down into the Descida del Lago. Later on the brakes is Semkowicz. Is he going to force Alexander wide? No, Alexander's going to carry the momentum around the outside.
Oh, and slow. Semkowicz is vulnerable. Mclaughlin knows it. He'll be able to get inside of him, down into the horseshoe, but he's not brave enough to try and keep the speed up on the tight side of that corner, so he'll fall back to 13th.
All right, so that's, oh, but Alexander had a little bit of a weird line there, and that's going to allow for Semkowicz now to try to carry a little bit of speed through Parahenyo, and he's got it. That's also going to allow Mclaughlin on through. Alexander trying to fight back there, going through the duckspill, but that's going to be positioned to Semkowicz and Mclaughlin.
Unfortunate for Alexander. Seeing those two positions slip away. He's awful close. Let's see if he can get the exit off the turn. No, that was a great run by Mclaughlin. He's not able to get up to Semkowicz at the same time, though, but I think we'll see these three stay line astern. We've had a few more drivers pit. Glover, Bergstrom, Lee have all been in and out, so a few trying to take alternate strategies as we come back to Hellberg and Carmody.
Yeah, jumping back up to this battle for the 5th place position. Ooh, that's a good run there for Leith Hellberg. Gonna try to make the run there. Carmody's gonna stick to the outside. We saw Neil Alexander make that work and keep the momentum up. Here they go, diving down into the Descida del Lago. It looks like it's advantage Hellberg. Is he gonna be able to hold it? Carmody's trying to stick that Ferrari around the outside. He's still got a little bit of a crossover. They're gonna go up the hill now.
Wow, bravely kept his nose in it, and it keeps going. A little bit of contact, side swipes Hellberg, but I think Hellberg's got the spot. Doesn't quite make the apex. He still keeps it in P5. And Carmody, under threat behind. That was Calgill that we saw from on board. Just seeing if he could maybe capitalize on all the chaos happening. Not so this time.
No, not so indeed. And so for a brief moment, Joe, we're given a respite from all of the insanity on track. This race is just never ending.
Everywhere we look, there have been fantastic battles here for the Ferrari Challenge. This might have been our best one of the week here at Interlagos. It all depends on if the GT3 AMs can one-up it, which good luck to that. Wager, in the meantime, is ahead by 7 seconds, and Beau Hill has had no answer for him. It's about maybe the only driver that's had a calm race.
Yeah, pretty much, and he's got a decent ways until he gets up to some lap traffic, so it may be nice for him to have a little bit of a breather, but we jump back here with Sean Carmody trying to close in on Hellberg. I think it looks like either Patrick Calgill has had an off or he's in the pits.
He's had an off. He spun in the first corner, and he's in an awkward spot. Okay, I think he's found some space to try and get it turned around, maybe, hopefully. There it goes. Did he do this on his own, or did he have some help?
Oh, that's all on his own. Yeah, he just got those left side tires a little bit too close to the edge there, clobbered over them and got into the grass, and that sent that car spinning.
A little bit too greedy with some of these curbs. I know they're relatively flat, but not that flat, at least not for the GT3s. Back to the battle for 5th place. Carmody chasing Hellberg, as these two are still actually just about where they started this race. They're both up 1 position, it appears, right now. 7th to 6th and 6th to 5th. where we see either of them potentially pitting this lap. Decent exit from Sean. He's going to get a little bit of a tow, but I don't think he's able to attack into the Senna S.
He looks a little far back unless he is super, super brave on the brakes. Ooh, maybe not, though. He's going to try this around the outside, as that is Hellberg trying to defend the inside line. Ooh, that's going to be Carmody backing off, trying to go for a little bit of a crossover. Hellberg very wisely defending. Just a little bit of a brake check on the apex to slow down the momentum of that number 40 machine.
Looks like Neil Alexander, our next one to pit. This is all happening behind the top four of Wager, Beauville, Knight, and Stetzel. Stetzel and Knight are relatively close, but not close enough to fight, so this is the better battle up towards the front of the field. Hitting the braking now into the horseshoe, and Hellberg, for the first time in a while, is not having to defend.
No, he's not. He'll be able to breathe a little bit easier, but still right there onto the back of him, as this looks like a little battle there. That's Brian Hoskins, I believe, coming up behind David Hebert. Or excuse me, that's Eric Evans on Hoskins.
Now this is for the 18th position, and almost seemed like Evans lifted there. Didn't really want to try and challenge it in front of them. Hebert goes a little bit off into the paved runoff. He'll lose one. Will he lose two? He's the bright blue machine that you see to the inside of the corner here. He is going to lose two. Evans going to be able to promote himself into 18th, and Stetzel is in.
All right, so that is the leading car here to come on into the pits. That is Stetzel pitting out of 4th place right now. Oh, as we're side by side for that battle for P5 again, Carmody. He's going to back off, though, a little bit again through the Senna S, just trying that move to see if he's got anything.
At some point, he might find a weakness there and be able to get through. Stetzel's done with his pit stop. Is he going to be our highest pitter still? I think so. Yeah, Pim Luth is way behind, so Stetzel will return in about 9th place. Unfortunately, he does have some traffic in front of him. We're still watching Hellberg and Carmody now fighting for 4th place down into the horseshoe. Carmody almost looks like he's kind of settled into this spot, not really sticking his nose here and there, even though he's quite close. Defensive move from Leaf into Essa, and no challenge there from the 40 car.
Yeah, you saw Carmody there looking a little bit wide and a little bit narrow there again. I think he's just trying to fill those rear view mirrors right now of Leif Hellberg to see if he can force a mistake out of that 52. None of these moves really seem like they are a full send, full commit move here at this point.
Rafael Beauville is next in. He was relatively close to Semkovich. Daniel Knight, my goodness, Daniel Knight was deep on the brakes. He gained a lot of time coming into pit lane, and that might help him as Carmody and Hellberg going to go side by side. They were for a little bit. Carmody's got the inside, Hellberg around the outside, and it looks like Sean will be able to move up into what is 2nd temporarily, but he goes wide off the corner and out of Curva de Sol as we come back to Stetzel now. It was a great run from Hellberg. We might get another attack here into the Descida del Lago.
We might indeed. He's very, very close behind. Ooh, big lift, big back off there from Leif Hellberg. Doesn't want to commit there. Ooh, but a run wide there for Carmody, almost opening the door, begging for Hellberg to come on through. And indeed, that's what he's looking like he's going to do down to the inside as they go up into the horseshoe.
Multiple mistakes over the course of this lap for these two. Who is going to suffer the worst from it? Carmody can't really defend, can't chop off. Apex is going to go to Hellberg. Hellberg is going to get 2nd.
All right, so that is Leif Hellberg as they come through. Now, this is important because I would imagine these guys are going to be pitting in the next lap or two here. And so you want to be first coming into pit lane. That'll give you an advantage coming on out. And I think that's why you saw a little bit of an impetus for Hellberg to try to get ahead.
Out of the junction now. Oh, and Wager is in. Our overall leader is in the pits as we check in with Stetzel, who is getting close to the back of Daniel Knight. Knight trying to chase Raphael Beaufil as well. It's just, I believe, effectively the battle for P2 once Wager, Hellberg, and Carmody pit, which both of those two are.
Yeah, indeed they are. So this battle has closed down here a little bit as things have shaken out. Yep, there you go. So the pit stops bringing these guys closer together. When they dove into the pits, they were a couple of seconds apart apiece. Ooh, great run there through the corner for Knight. I think he may have a move.
Knight started this race in 5th position. He's up 2. Can he make it 3? Gonna have to look the long way around of Beaufil. Raphael defending successfully. We could see an undercut. Here comes Daniel Knight trying to switch back around the other side, but unfortunately it's going to be on the outside of a long, sweeping right-hander here with Horseshoe. This is also going to help out John Stetzel and the Gulf livery car that you can see behind, but the long way around somehow. Knight manages to make it stick at first, but can't send it deep enough into ESSA.
No, and that's Stetzel getting touched by Knight. Stetzel around.
Oh, and he tries to give the spot back. In the meantime, Ficadenti goes by. That's a lapped car, so that's not a position lost. So he could still return the spot. Stetzel gets it going, but both of them are way behind Beaufil, who will be able to scamper away with 2nd place.
Yeah, indeed he will, though, Joe. This is a heads-up move here from Stetzel to make that dive. And I gotta say there for Daniel Knight, I was just a little over-eager trying to make that work going down into Pereño. That door was always going to close like that. And indeed, that is Knight giving the position back to Stetzel as they climb their way through the pit straight.
And credit to Daniel Knight. He comes in over from the oval side here, along with a lot of our guys who are new to the GT series. And whereas most would imagine bump and run is pretty normal over there, it's not on the roadside. And he doesn't want to play that way. He's going to let him back through, giving Stetzel P3. As we now come to the fight between Mclaughlin and Alexander. Alexander in the red and blue, not going to defend to the inside, leaves the door open for Mclaughlin in the red and white, and Mclaughlin gets a much better exit.
That was a very weird line for Neil Alexander. I'm not entirely sure what he was thinking through there because he just left that door open for the exit of Mclaughlin. Mclaughlin now diving down to the inside, almost contact there between the two, but able to keep it nice and clean. They go down into the seat of Interlagos way later on the brakes as Joe Mclaughlin. Alexander looking for a crossover here, but he's not gonna get it.
So Mclaughlin gets 12th place with that move. Ooh, Alexander almost looked like he wanted it right back, and then backed out of it once they started to approach the horseshoe just in front of them. That is Simkovic up the road. We'll see if they can catch that green and black machine as well. It's nothing happening all up at the front with Wager now 11.7 seconds ahead of Beaufil. So really not too exciting for the lead, unfortunately, but everything else has been giving us some non-stop action.
Yeah, and just a quick check-in, by the way, on that battle for P5 that we were looking at between Carmody and Hellberg as we watch now Cristelli trying to make a move on Brian Hoskins ahead. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but Hellberg had a long pit stop. He was longer in pit lane than his rival of Sean Carmody, and Carmody has been able to stretch that gap out to about 3.5 seconds.
I'm going to check to see maybe he missed his pit stall or something here, because he was fine on pit entry and he was ahead of him on pit entry. As we watch from Mark File here in ninth, it just almost seems like Hellberg was very timid looking for his pit stall. I wonder if he couldn't see it due to other cars kind of being in the way. That maybe caused him to be slower cone to cone. In the meantime, File approaching Pim Luth. Luth was one of our first pitters. Oh, Luth trying to chop down on the nose of Mark File, does so just in time, and is now shallow, switching back into Little Pine Tree. And then now they come up towards the Ducksbill. File putting immense pressure on this 33 car.
And for eagle-eyed viewers that saw that Ferrari off on the side of the track, that was Ficcadenti. That he is out there, but that car's still having problems from that early first lap accident that he got himself into. Jump back here to that battle with Alexander that we were looking at. Now he's got to watch out a little bit. That's Paul Wildridge starting to close in behind him, and he's bringing Lawson Christie with him.
And Wildridge is one of our big movers this race. He's up 12 spots since the beginning. Alexander, though, kind of been following the same MO. He's up 12 from 25th to 13th. So both of them trying to make do after a bad qualifying sessions. They all break down into the Senna S yet again. And we're getting another driver in pit lane. That's Ficcadenti. I wonder if he hit an incident limit as he has a drive-through, as Mark File is getting extremely aggressive. Pim Luth tries to hold him off, but even braking on the inside's not quite going to do it. Going very wide. Mark File slips up a little bit. Spot goes right back to Pim, who now cuts across to try and keep him from taking the inside away down into the horseshoe. Both of them bounding over the curbs.
Yeah, really putting these Ferraris through their paces. That looked like a little bit of an offline there for Luth, as that was File able to carry a little bit more speed, but oh, it costs him there coming down through Pierre Henyo. You can see him losing out about a 10th and a half.
So once again, the drivers, as Daniel Knight is on it again, but this time it's with Charlie Sumner. When did Charles get by? This is new news to me. Checking to see how, it was a mistake into essay by Daniel Knight, went wide there, and that's when the 98 was able to sneak through and is looking at a 4th place now.
That's a really good run from Sumner here. He's been doing a great job this season, just consistent driving here in and here out. But Knight now trying to challenge up behind the best he can. He's going to make a race out of it with only about 2.5 minutes here to go.
Charles doing a bang-up job today here in the Ferrari Challenge. He's up from 11th to 4th place with that little capitalization on the mistake of his fellow rival. But here comes Knight closing in, and Charlie knows it. He first covers him off, now comes back to the racing line. Both of them into the double right-hander, but Knight goes very wide.
Very wide indeed, just trying to get as much speed as he can. Sumner just driving his race here.
Which is what he's got to do over the next 2 laps, because Wager's just crossing the line right now, so 2 to go for our overall leader. There you see him on screen, but starting to come upon lap traffic, and that's frankly about the only thing I can imagine could be his undoing today.
Yeah, pretty much, but even then we've seen some good, respectful blue flags getting thrown out here as we watch that 47. That is a little bit of a battle in front of him, though. That's 24th and 25th place positions. That's Eric Evans and David Hebert.
Yeah, he's got to stay careful. Those two are in their own fight, so they're easily distracted. If they make mistakes, the last thing he wants is to be collected into their squabble as they come down through the horseshoe. A little bit of a short shoot here until you brake hard for the first of a series of hairpins. And he's also a bit stuck here, it looks like. He's not willing to try and force the issue on them quite yet. So he's probably losing time, but I mean, that's why you build that monster gap.
Yeah, exactly. There's no real impetus here for Wager to try to push on by. He might as well just stay back here and let things come to him, try to probably get past on a good run out of the junction.
See if he does that here. So I'm keeping an eye on Knight and Sumner because they are staying mighty close and making me nervous back there. Wager coming up. Neither driver is still interested in lifting to let him by, but they're getting blue flags. It's just, it is informational only. They're not required to absolutely pull over as we get the white flag now, and he's really got to be careful because they're going to go side by side.
This could get a little bit spicy. I wouldn't be surprised if Wager's starting to sweat a little bit. All right, there he's going to go by. That is him getting by right now. The first of those cars, that is a Bear. Now Evans in front of him. I bet he is going to want to clear both of them and not want to get in the way of this battle if at all possible.
He's going to look to the inside, see if he can outbrake him, and he can. Is he given space, though? Again, that's for position, so that car does not want to really lift, or else he could open the doors. We got a battle between Knight and Sumner, and Knight is going to get it, and that's Hellberg, who takes advantage as well, easily going by down through the S's.
And he's got to watch out here, Charles Sumner, that is, because Carmody was able to sit back and wait on that. Is he going to try to make a fight back here, though? This is a good battle for fifth right now. Nobody making a move going down into Interlagos, but that doesn't mean it's over.
No, little slip up will certainly offer the chance for anybody to try and get their nose in, and I don't think they're going to sit and wait twice for it. As we watch this, I can tell you that Wager is coming out of the junction now. The 47 car put it on the pole and really was unfazed by everybody. Avoided getting caught up in the opening wreck. And as he comes to the line, it is going to be 4 wins out of 5 races for Jonathan Wager.
Yet another just absolutely dominant drive here for the 47. As we check back on that battle, Daniel Knight starting to streak away. Hellberg holding on now. Everybody just one more corner there, really to go. Carmody able to make it, and Sumner falling back through the order. That's a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, and all of that happening on the last lap, unfortunately. And this is with Simkovic trying to catch up to Cochran, who's also trying to catch up to File, but doesn't look like any of those three. Oh, Sumner's out of fuel. Sumner is out of fuel. That's why he was slow, and he winds up in ninth. The miscalculation wound up being costly. Mclaughlin barely going to beat Alexander across the line by about 1/10 of a second between those two. And this is Cristelli. Oh, and things, oh no is right, are getting tight between these two.
Indeed it is. Cristelli trying to make a dive down here. That is a shorter line, but I think he's just going to run out of tarmac, and indeed he is.
That was almost even bigger oh no than what was on that bumper there, as an accident in that part of the track would have been monumental. But that is going to be our results now. So let's head through the finishing order with Jonathan Wager managing to take the victory once again. Rafael Bofill was second, and John Stetzel a somewhat quiet third place. Daniel Knight finished P4, although he and Stetzel did have a small coming together. Hellberg was P5, and Carmody finished 6th. Mark File, 18th to 7th, was then one-upped by Barry Cochran, who went 21st to 8th. Charles Sumner finished 9th today, and Simkovic rounds out your top 10.
In 11th was the often active there, Pim Luth, followed by Joe McCauley, who was able to get that move and hold it on Neil Alexander, who came home in 13th. Lawson Christie was 14th, followed by Paul Wildridge, with Alec Bergstrom and Baron Glover behind him. Yannick Belleville had a good rise up through the field, with Brian Hoskins in 19th and Patrick Cowgill rounding out your top 20.
Peter Lee finished 21st today, with Cristelli going backwards from 13th to 22nd. Jordan Walker was the last car on the lead lap in 23rd. It was Eric Evans, 24th today. David A. Bear was 25th, and Luke Sutton was the first of our DNFs, with Ficadenti also unfortunately not getting to see the checkered flag. ZD McLaughlin and Gross all out of it today, sadly. We're looking to see if we can get one of the drivers to come and talk to us. I know there was a few hot tempers after that race based on the conversation we were seeing, but hope they're not too distracted, DJ, to come and give us a chat.
Yeah, I'd certainly like to talk to him. Obviously, a pretty quiet race there for Jonathan Wager, but I would love to know what it was like going on there up at the top. But yet again, Joe, the PRL just putting on one heck of a display for us out here today.
I am a big fan of the way they've split up the GT3s so far this season, both with the Pro on Monday, the AMs here tonight a little bit later, and then the Ferrari GT3s for all the newcomers coming in. Just perfectly placing everybody in such an evenly matched crowd, and gives us some of the best racing we've seen in a while. Unfortunately, not the best interviews, at least tonight, because nobody still has shown up. So we're going to have to give a break and take off. So we're going to come back with more racing. So don't go away. Right back here at Interlagos for the Precision Racing League GT3 Amateur Series. Stick around.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Welcome back to Interlagos. While we just watched the Precision Racing League Ferrari Challenge, we now head off to the PRL GT3 Amateur Series. And that being at the same track, it allows us to head straight on over to our points championship, starting with the driver's standings. Vincent Trepanier is leading the way on that one. Up at the front with another case like we saw with the other series, 3 wins for him so far this season. And similarly, the only other driver to win is in third, and that's Nathan Nicholson. He just kind of had a bit of a bad start to the season there at the opener, unfortunately. But from there, it stays pretty tight. Louise there in fourth, only 5 points back, and then another 8 down to Jean-Claude Langlois, allowing us quite a battle for the final podium position in the points. We also have a teams championship. DJ, how's that looking?
Well, at the top, it is pretty spread out there, Joe, with NTR Motorsports Yellow having a 46-point lead over ASR AMA, and about 40 points back there between ASR and L1 Esports Red. And then about 30 points back between third and fourth, with SRT Esports Blue sitting there in fourth. But I'll tell you what, it's close battle for fourth, with the R36 team right there, only 1 point behind.
As for this race, it's going to be slightly different from what we saw before. 5 more minutes longer. Still 1 pit stop, though, here in round 5. This one is an open setup series, though. So drivers do have to get in and try to fiddle to get their best speed and comfort out of the cars. But everything else pretty much the same, with the penalties and bonus points reflecting similarly. We're just about done with our warm-up, and then we head to qualifying. Same deal as before, 4 laps, but now we have different makes of cars, and I feel like that is potentially going to change the complexion, because from what we saw last night, DJ, it seems like those BMWs are the car to have.
Yeah, and we did a little bit of research, and it does seem to be that it is those turbochargers that do help out a little bit, mainly not to get too crazy into it, but basically the less air is required to pull into the engine because of the turbos, and that in turn lets those cars just get a little bit more horsepower as they make their way around this relatively high elevation circuit in Brazil.
And that's one thing I love about iRacing is they've actually modeled that into the weather and whatnot, that the elevation does make a difference in the car performance. So they go to great detail, and we're about to get to the details of the qualifying session as we watch the clock now tick down. Now, the other thing that we found interesting is that we saw Ferguson go one lap longer than everybody last night. Not unfortunately able to repeat the heroics of Hungary and going the entire race without a pit stop. I wonder if anybody was watching that again, DJ, and thought, maybe it's worth trying to just conserve a little bit and come out with a slightly shorter stop.
Well, it's always worth a shot to try to do here, but I think especially around here, the biggest thing is not necessarily when you come in, it is how you come in. It is making sure you nail the entry and exit of the pit stop, and you want to come out in clean air around here. So much of this track you spend bunched behind in medium speed corners. It can really, really throw you off in terms of checking up. So if you're able to come out in perfectly clean air, well, you might as well do it.
And there goes the checkered flag for the warm-up session. One to watch out for today is going to be Kevin Norris. And the reason I have earmarked him is because he's second in the points, as you saw, only 11 back from Trepignet. But he's yet to get a victory so far this season. And he's certainly had consistent results out there. So could he finally manage to put one over on everybody else and get himself a win? This is going to be somewhat dependent on his qualifying today. It is possible to pass, as we saw just a few minutes ago. But being able to be up on that pole will be handy as we now watch on board with Norris.
Yeah, we do indeed. There you can see Kevin in VR. Now, this will be great to really say if we can stay here for just a couple of little bit corners later. Watch how much he's going to have to look through all of this. There you can see the eyes looking all the way around the hill and down into that plunging essay corner, and then immediately flicking the head back to the left as he goes down into Perehenyo.
I kind of want to watch this through the duckspill, too. See what he does. This is one of the sharpest turns. Really has to crank the wheel around to get it through. And yeah, it was very much cranking his head as well to the right to watch and make sure he can hit the apex and then the exit and then really launch it to here where you have the all-critical junction. Takes you up the hill, needing as much speed as possible off that corner to try and carry a momentum. And this is going to be the start of his flyer, though. So mostly wants this exit so that he has a good few hundred meters down into the first corner and use that speed to get a tenth or two. Let's see. Braking down into the turn. He is driving that desired BMW, and so far, nice run through the S's.
Yeah, very good run. You don't want to have too much herky-jerky wheel motion through there. You want to keep a nice, steady, clean line. Get that as straight as possible. Scrub off as little speed as you can because you are coming onto the Retro Pasta, which is a longer straight around here. Now coming in here through the Descida del Lago, and again, back up the hill. Again, it's just all about smoothness.
Another interesting thing worth noting is that Norris doesn't have a pole position either. That's been tied between Trepignet and Nicholson. Those are the two that have managed it today. As we now watch Nick Mclaughlin, as he also has to try and work his way around. And as we've seen earlier this season, one of the few running in the Ford, so far making good use of it.
Yeah, doing a good job there with it. Obviously, the Ford not exactly having a turbocharger, much more of that sort of American V8 growl coming through on it there. We ride on board. You can just hear how beautiful it sounds.
First one that sets a time, I think, is going to be Sepulveda. So I'm watching to see what he puts down. A 31.4 for him, followed by Langlois, who has a 32 flat. That's not going to manage to be ahead of Vicente. Nicholson only good enough for third. Caven Norris up into P2. Still about 3 thousandths off of Vicente. And we're waiting for guys like Trepanier to come across the line. Here we see Robertson down and through. Let's see what this first lap is going to be. And it doesn't look like it counted for him, unfortunately.
No, it did not. But Paul Espina able to come up in there. Bevel rather is up into fourth. Caven Norris pulling off. He's going to call it quits here and try another run. I saw Swindells coming up into 16th. Looks like Alexandra Breton having a bit of an off. Gabriel Nione putting in a time to come in 17th.
Trepanier stole the pole away from Sepulveda, but by only 0.07 of a second. That means our top three are split by 0.08 of a second right now. It is extremely tight. This is Kwok Nin here on your screen. His first lap was sadly deleted. He'll still have 3 more tries as the VR user takes his BMW out of the junction and then tries to hug the left-hand side, making it as short as possible through there. Let's see if this one is any better. Let's see if it counts for him. Got to keep it clean within the boundaries, and it was a 31.7 for him. Will boost him up to 6th.
Well, that'll be a very happy run there for Kwok Nin, taking a big jump up the curb. Here's Nathan Nicholson. He's been one of the standouts early on. There you can see him on VR right now. Bumped down to 11th. That Porsche just not looking like the fastest car around here, but Vincent Trepanier going even faster, able to improve his time and get up to about 0.2 of a second quicker than his closest rival.
Does Nathan have a rave happening nearby or something? I guess it doesn't bother him because he's completely involved in the VR right now, but that is... and that gets a little bit hairy coming through the horseshoe, and you could see the hands just suddenly going wild there.
Yeah, I love that we got to see that there from Nathan working it around. He's going to have a lot of squirrely hands there. Remember, we talk about it a lot. This Porsche rear-wheel drive, rear engine, that rear end wants to step out, and especially through the middle sector here at Interlagos, that can be very, very easy to do. So I think the Porsche drivers are going to have their hands full out here today.
Those who are watching closely may have seen Trepanier go purple yet again, and he is now 0.2 ahead of Sepulveda. So what was relatively close is now really falling apart. For anybody hoping for the top spot. Here comes Nicholson to the line. Let's see what this one marks for him. 32.5, unfortunately, not faster. And Norris has abandoned his most recent lap, and Sepulveda just spun on his lap. So he's only going to get one more, and we're coming down to 3 minutes left to go. Can anybody match the 87 car?
I think it's going to be pretty tricky here. And Joe, we were talking about the power and the pace of the BMWs. I think to the surprise of nobody, the top 8 right now, all BMWs.
We saw Robertson earlier. He still has yet to set a time. Breton also failing to set one. Villegas and Burmeister have not put one on the board. So we watch Devin Horvath here in 17th place now in the infield section. Looking to see if we have any of our front runners coming down to the line soon, and doesn't appear to be. Horvath going to be among the next of them to finish up. He's a little off the apex through the junction. That certainly won't help him.
No, it won't, and that is the most crucial corner around here. You have got to absolutely nail the junction. But we'll stay on here with Horvath to see what he can do as he comes to the line. He should have enough time to get one more lap in, but he's going to cross over here. Devin hoping for better. Not looking like he's going to get it.
Nope. And Trepanier is coming up to the line. He's already got 0.2 of a second over everybody else. Here he is on your screen. Can he extend it even further to dominate the competition? To the line, Can the Canadian go faster? No, not today. A 31.2 will stand as his fastest time, and it's up to everybody else to beat him. Sepulveda pulls off. He's done. Norris has not returned to the track, so it's essentially too late for him to try and set a time. Looks like Belval is finished. Luis in the number 8 is coming around to finish his 3rd lap, but that'll be his last flyer. Looks like Swindells calls it quits. He's done for the day. They're dropping like flies, and nobody seems to have the pace for the 87.
No, but Luis Reedy's going to give it a shot here. He comes across the line trying to beat a 1:31.7, not able to do it, and that's going to be time for him. We're down under about 1:20 to go, so nobody's going to be able to get another lap here. Don Bowden, though, all the way down in 29th in that Ferrari. Let's see if he's got anything. He's not able to go faster.
Nope. So the next one will be the last lap for Horvath. From there, I think Kyle Robertson will be our last driver to set a time. Kyle did get one on the board. Now he's just trying to improve from here. Horvath across, 32 flat, 2/10 quicker. That'll actually get him up to 16th as it's very tight in that part of the field. And now it's Kyle Robertson's turn in the number 15. A 32.5 last time by. Has he pushed it enough to lower it further? Across the line, a 31.7. Wow, a big jump, huge jump up to 6th.
Whoa, the train driver's going to be very, very happy about that. Here comes Christopher Rines. I think he'll be able to make it to the line in time right now. This is going to be close on his best time, though. Let's see if he can improve. He will not. The SRT Esport Blue driver will stay in 23rd.
Yes, and that rounds out our qualifiers here for the PRL GT3 Amateur Series. Our grid is set. Let's go through the starting order. It is Vincent Trepigny who starts on the pole. Vicente Sepulveda will be in 2nd, as Kevin Norris only good enough for 3rd. Claude Bell will be in 4th position. Luis Reedy will be P5, and then it's Kyle Robertson and the dying stages making a shock 3rd row appearance. Kwok Nin starts from 7th, and Jean-Claude Langlois starts in 8th, and it's Breton in 9th, and Zanadakis rounding out your top 10.
In 11th is Michael Pavolano, followed by Ethan Tavitas with Gabriel Moreau and Paul Espina lining up in row 7. Row 8 is Nathan Nicholson, followed by Gabriel Nione with Devin Horvath in 17th and Fabio Scardura in 18th. Robbie Campbell is able to start off in 19th, and in 20th, it's Lucio Vargas.
Magnon will be on the inside of the next row with Desjardins in 22nd. Christopher Rines will be the next one back. Matt Hilton starts 24th, and Richard Swindells at the quarter-century mark. You've got Nick Mclaughlin starting 26th, and Bowie Suin in 27th. Then it's Rafael Vieira in 28th. Last two to qualify were Bowden and Miller. Villegas and Burmeister will be at the back of the fields, but it looks like the 101 of Villegas is not in the sim right now, so I fear it will only be 31 cars that will take to the grid, which is a nice cool 74 degrees, and unlike the last race where it was in the evening, this one's in the morning.
It is in the morning, and that 74-degree track temperature, remember, Joe, we saw a little bit of a kerfluffle coming down into turn 1 last time because of cold tires and cold brakes. We're probably going to see a repeat of that here, but look at that humidity. 90% of humidity out here right now in Brazil. That means that there is a lot of air for these cars to cut through. That means the draft is going to be more effective, and they're going to be able to carry a little bit more speed through the medium and high-speed corners around here, as the downforce on these cars will work more effectively.
You know, unfortunately, with this being prime time in North America, we don't have any Finns out here. I'm pretty sure they'd be quite comfortable in this, because it certainly would feel like a sauna out there in the virtual world. As we take a look at our onboards, which include Kevin Norris, who will start from 3rd today. And we've got Kyle Robertson's onboard starting from P6 on the grid. So there's two of our front runners giving us some perspectives. And we have Nick Mclaughlin here as well. Nick going to be starting much farther down in 26. Have to do a lot of passing to get where those other drivers are. And looks to be our onboards for the evening as they come out of the junction. Trepignet, can he repeat what we saw before and make it 4 out of 5? Sweet. Oh, and he is backing them up big time. The pace car is way up ahead. This is interesting. I haven't seen this happen in the PRL in quite some time. I do believe they are allowed to do this. I'm kind of surprised because I would think Trepignet would not want to offer any more slipstream than is necessary here. Waiting for the Porsche pace car to peel in. There it goes now. And Trepignet is off. Early start actually works out quite well for him. Green flag is out. Trepignet easily in front of Sepulveda. Battle for 4th place. Reedy with Belval to his outside. Let's hope it's cleaner down to the first corner. Unfortunately not. We got some cars bumping and they just swing wide. Will we get through the Senna S clean? Someone going through the grass to try and recover. We are good otherwise.
We are indeed, and I want to point out there that that was a mega start. It looked like, well, I thought it was there from Kyle Robertson. Actually ended up losing out on one position now in a tight battle with Alexander Britton. Oh, we've got a kerfluffle up front.
Oh, no. And that was, it looks like a slow car. Sepulveda, he was our 2nd place runner. Reedy moves into 2nd. 3rd goes to Norris. Some drivers trying to scatter to get positions back there in the top 10. Looks like Sepulveda going to hold back Robertson.
And Robertson now trying to make a move on the outside there of Essay. Now he's going to look down to the inside of Perehenio. Not able to make it work there. He is the highest ranked non-BMW right now, riding around in 8th. He is down 2 positions from that starting spot.
Half spin from Sepulveda, and poor Kevin Norris just was kind of had no place to go. Tipped him back forward, and Norris falls to 3rd. After an opportunity to get 2nd. Look at how close this is coming down into there. And side by side goes in favor of Robertson, streaming past to Spina. In fact, Paul is mighty slow because now Xanadakis comes around his outside. They're going to go wheel to wheel, giving a great view for Nathan Nicholson behind in 11th. Ooh, has to weave around to the outside. Big slipstream. A late move down to the inside for Espina. 3 wide. They bang doors a little bit, and it seems Robertson can retain control. Almost gets a rub from behind as Xanadakis is very powerful out of the curve. And a solo once again, giving a little bit of a hello.
Whoa! Getting very, very spicy here as we're all thinking about going 3 wide down into the Descida del Lago. Are they going to hold out? Robertson stuck to the outside. Nicholson trying to dive down the inside. That's somebody off in front. That's Belval.
Oh, no, and Belval using the paved runoff to get back to the track, but many positions go down. Robertson still fighting side by side, and Nicholson has to give it up. Xanadakis heard the all clear and just jumped into it in a second, in a fraction of a second. I don't know how he fit that car in there.
I don't either, but that was one heck of a move for Xanadakis. We've seen the aggression out of the 07, and I love seeing it here. We ride on board now with the 5th place car of Kwok Nin. He is trying to work right now. That is Sepulveda. He's trying to get by as they are side by side going into the junction.
Vicente opening up the exit, which gives them a much better run. And yeah, you can see the speed difference as the 248 is able to get past, but Nin's now going to have the slipstream, and he's going to be able to fight back. 150 miles an hour these cars are going already at this stage. Back around the outside, here we go again, side by side, into the Senna S. Kwok Nin going the long way around to the first apex. It'll give him the inside of the next one, but it'll be pinched, and the better exit helps Sepulveda as well as Paul Espina. He gets a spot, and unfortunately for Xanadakis, he gets blocked before he can take advantage of it as well. Here comes Espina now, looking side by side with Sepulveda into the corner. Just ahead of us as we watch from Nicholson, and it continues down the Descida del Lago.
They are still side by side there between Espina and Sepulveda. That was a really heads-up move from Paul Espina to try to make it work. Now that's Espina diving down to the inside, coming up through the horseshoe. Kwok Nin maybe trying to take a little bit of a look at it here on Sepulveda. Espina fully ahead. Nin sending it down late.
Vicente's trying to hold him off. It's not been the greatest of starts for the 248. Finally, he is repulsing the car of Kwok Nin, and behind him it all kicks off yet again. Xanadakis, Nicholson, and Robertson all swapping positions.
It is the same story in just a different race, Joe. You cannot take your eyes away. There's Nicholson trying to make that move work down through the junction. He's going to push that's Kyle Robertson a little bit wide. Now Gabriel Moreau is going to slot in behind this. Moreau in the Ferrari trying to fight his way forward. Robertson pokes his nose to the outside on Nicholson, seeing if there's anything to do there. But here comes that Ferrari with a full head of steam.
Going to have to look around the outside, though. Moreau trying to break deep, and someone else getting involved in there. I think that is Langlois, who unfortunately gets checked up and is going to lose a spot to Rines. No change between Horvath, Moreau, and Robertson. You know, I said that the GT3 AMs would, good luck trying to one-up the Ferrari Challenge. They took that personally, apparently.
Yeah, they did. They are out to prove us that there is a good battle to be had out there. Whoa!
Oh, multiple cars going off. That is the spinner of Belval for the second time in that corner. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, it is. Let's go back and check this out on replay. This looked like just a little bit of a late diving move there in the back. There is Belval. You can see too wide as they come down the Retro Oposta here. Waiting, thought about taking it 3 wide and just couldn't get the car gathered up back under him. Oh, that has got to be so frustrating.
And Robertson went off at the same time with Moreau kind of pushing him wide in that corner. And is Moreau... Oh my goodness, we have a huge pileup in the Ducksbill. Moreau, it looks like Vieira and Mignon are all at the side of the track there. I think Robertson involved in it again. Holy cow.
Moreau dove it down just too late. I think that was an independent spin there in front, and yeah, that's a kerfluffle.
Well, that was the second time in one lap that Moreau made contact with Robertson into a corner, and Moreau was on the inside. So I'm curious to see what the stewards think of that one.
We've got to jump up to Xanadakis and Espina right now as they're side by side going down through these corners. Oh my goodness, boys. You have got to give us a good minute to catch our breath here. This is incredible.
And they got a battle behind them. That's Sepulveda and Nicholson. It looks like it's going to go to Xanadakis into 4th place. A little bit of a poor exit from Sepulveda. Nathan tries to go around the outside into that one. That's also Kwok Nin, who we've hopped on board with. Oh, there's so many different lines being taken. It's kind of amazing they haven't had more contact.
It really and truly is, but this battle, this train, these guys do not want to give up anything.
As we come off of the junction, it is a train of 6 effectively battling for P4. And I see Robbie Campbell falling down the order. So I think something must have happened to him. But let's stay here as Xanadakis gives a tow to all 5 behind them. And the closest among them seems to be Sepulveda and Nicholson. Once again, look at the defending that we're seeing into this corner. Drivers, and a little contact between Nicholson and Nin that time. Nin is really taken off by that. He unfortunately is going to lose his spot as it looks like Horvath is able to take advantage.
Horvath able to take advantage, and now Sepulveda trying to get a move done here on Espina as they go down. You can see it up ahead. They're side by side going in. Kwok is smiling, though. These drivers loving the action. Oh, a little bit of banging doors between the Ferrari and the BMW up front. That may open up a little bit of a run here for Nathan Nicholson.
Unpredictability is the name of the game, and some great stuff amongst these drivers. This is phenomenal racing here in the GT3 AMs. Down into the corner, Espina not having to defend that time, thankfully. A little bit of corrections here as we ride on board with Nicholson. Just having to make sure that the car doesn't swap ends. Oh, and Sepulveda taking a wide entry, trying to line up the exit to see if he can get by Espina. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out.
No, it doesn't. We've seen a couple of times that these drivers, ooh, that's a very, very wide run through the junction. But look at the speed that Sepulveda is able to carry. He is all over the back of that Ferrari. The BMW horsepower starting to pay off as he's now going to pull up behind in the draft, and the Ferrari starts to poke his nose this way and that. Espina already getting defensive, trying to hold that inside line.
And this is allowing Zanadakis to start to stretch away. You can see up front, side by side, between Espina and Sepulveda. Sepulveda going to get pinched a little bit. Here comes Nicholson, and unfortunately, he has to check up. Now behind him, Devin Horvath is going to get the slipstream. Who's going to get to the inside? Sepulveda covers, but not enough. He leaves just the cars with, oh, they come together! And hitting at almost 110 miles an hour into the corner. Oh no, Mclaughlin falls victim as well.
Oh no, Joe, and unfortunately that was almost inevitable with as close as these drivers were fighting it out. Let's go back and check out this replay.
Wow, I thought he had just enough of space. I wonder if it was a little net code between them potentially. I think it may have been. Yeah, 145 down the straight. And they have a little Vettel-Leclerc moment of their own, unfortunately.
Indeed, I was trying to think of exactly what incident that mirrored, and you hit the nail on the head there. So big comings together. Let's watch on board Nicholson here. Sepulveda right ahead of him. You see the little bit of check up there that he has coming through the Curva del Sol. And now we get onto the straight. Moves this way, moves that. Yeah, and there's the contact. Yeah, I think that was a little bit of ghost contact.
Big hit for the Porsche. Well, we asked for them to give us a break, and we do have it now. So quick refresher at the top of the field. Trepanier does lead this race, by the way, by about 6.5 seconds over Kevin Norris. But Norris is in quite a fight because this is third place Breton that we see on board with, back by only 2/10.
Yes, indeed. So the battle here for second certainly shaping up. These drivers being a little calmer than what we saw further down the field, as it looks like there that Norris was able to get a better run out of the Descida del Lago and hold it here through the horseshoe.
I tell you what, out of all that craziness, Zanadakis and Espina getting up to the front of that group proved to be quite advantageous because now they have nobody behind them and can settle down for a moment. So we watch the pair of BMWs up at the front. Highest non-BMW, for those who are curious, is Espina in the Ferrari Q5 for him. We watch from Horvath now, who is just behind Paul.
Yes, he is, and there you can see him just trying to poke his nose this way and that in that Porsche, following the Ferrari, heavy onto the brakes. Again, a pretty wide run there for Devin Horvath, trying to just carry as much momentum as he can through junction. Both drivers doing a nice job there. You don't really want to cross over the middle of that curb on the exit of junction, as it will cause the car to upset a little bit.
Gonna get a nice toe. I don't think Horvath is near enough. The Porsche starts to reel him in. He's going to show his nose just to try to get into the head of the 20, but that also puts him offline a little bit as he has to try and make that apex and fails to do so.
Yeah, not quite able to get it there. I don't think that's going to be enough of a run. We jump back here. This is the battle for 7th. This is Jean-Claude Langlois and Marc-Andre Desjardins battling it out a little bit, a battle of the BMWs.
Also have an overtake in 10th. Campbell just overtook Scardura. Just a simple pass for that one into the Senna S. Langlois, very late on the brakes, but the BMW not able to overtake the sister car there.
No, and these two are teammates, so they will probably be in a little bit of communication here, but some good clean racing going on out on track between them. Probably evenly matched as of right now.
You got to think so, as the pair of them come towards the duckbill now. And so let's see. Well, we're still not even to the end of the pit window, or at least the middle of the race for this one. We have seen the beginning of the pit window. Some drivers have been in. Belval is in and out. The rest are due to damage, unfortunately, and some have been sitting in there for quite some time taking repairs. Horvath here in sixth place is about 3 or 4 car lengths behind Paul Espina, so no attempt this time.
Yeah, not really going too hard for it there. Just trying to get a little bit of a better run potentially through the Senna S and down through that Curva del Sol. Not really seeing like he's got it. He's got the gap down to about 0.3 of a second, but Joe, we've only seen that really be an effective move when it's down to about 0.2.
And here is Vargas. He's in a fight at the same time that the cars in front are. That Swindells to his left side, Scardura and Campbell in front. Continuing on down the hill. Once again, that pinched second apex for Vargas is a death knell, and he slips backwards. Suin is going to try and see if he can use that. He gets to the inside, but he doesn't quite have the speed.
No, doesn't quite have the speed. He's trying to keep the nose of that Ferrari in there, but I don't think that's going to end well. Whoa! Big catch there for Suin.
Yeah, and he falls backwards. Nick Mclaughlin catching up. Now battle for 14th and pokes his nose out. The Ford might be able to have this. He gets inside of the Ferrari and has to give up the ghost. Ford versus Ferrari goes to Ford today.
Well, it did for about 4 years in the 60s, and that's just continuing itself on here as the 62 is able to get on by McLaughlin. The lone Ford in the field right there. You can see him on your camera. Normally near up closer to the front of the field. Just looks like he's struggling a little bit today in that Ford.
I just realized, and Espina side by side with Horvath. I was going to say, Horvath at some point has gotten by Paul Espina for 5th place. And this battle's going to pick up once again out of the Curva del Sol.
Here they go, side by side. That is going to be Espina able to carry a little bit more momentum around the outside, but it's going to favor Horvath into the braking zone. Espina backs off there, but tries to hold it. He's got to give up the ghost. Can he get a better run here out of the second part of the Descida del Lago? It doesn't look like it.
This has been incredible stuff between the pair of them. By the way, they had just swapped positions before we went there. It was up the hill out of the junction that Espina had a slide, and that made him slow. Horvath easily going past him in a straight line. So Espina's trying to make up for his mistake as we give a little bit of a look and some love to Vincent Trepanier, the NTR Motorsports driver. Going to collect some valuable points for the team again here today.
Yes, indeed. We jump back here as that battle for P2 separated out just a little bit. Alexander Breton trying to chase down Kevin Norris here. Breton looking like he's losing out just a little bit, but not really enough to completely be out of the danger zone of Kevin Norris. Closing up under braking, obviously Constantine effect coming into play. Let's see how Breton takes the end here out of the Curva del Sol. He's able to maintain some pretty good pace there. Close that gap back up. He sliced it down by about 0.4 of a second, Joe.
And these two are teammates as well, as you can tell from the similar liveries. So maybe they're not fighting each other too hard, at least at this stage. Poor Kevin Norris, he's had 3 second places and a 3rd so far this season. So every single time on the podium, but none of them wins. And he's looking set potentially for another 2nd place. Always the bridesmaid.
Yeah, he'll be hoping to maybe break that duck here as soon as he can. But as of right now, Vincent Trepanier pulling out about an 8-second advantage. So Vincent really putting down some power laps here.
Oh, Robertson had a spin, I think, all on his own in the first corner. So the 15 just having a bit of a miserable day. In the meantime, we come back to Langlois. This is with Desjardins just in front of him. I believe this is the 2 other NTR teammates down into the Ducksville.
Yes, indeed it is. And if they're all able to finish here at the end of the day in the top 10, that'll be a great day for that team. They'll be very, very happy about it. Hearing that Nathan Nicholson is out of the race, that damage just too much for him to deal with.
Yeah, no 3rd win for him today, unfortunately, or 2nd win rather. And coming down the front stretch, once again, all the NTR yellow cars have been plugging in the results. And then just a little bit of a poke from Langlois just outside the racing line, getting some air on the front of that BMW. I think things are indeed settling down somewhat. I'm looking through my timing screen, and everybody's at least about half a second apart from each other. This is one of those right here between Norris and Breton for P2. But we are about 30 seconds away from the halfway mark, so we should see more and more drivers start to pit, and maybe that'll shuffle it up.
Maybe it will indeed. We've seen pit stops be able to jump people forward. We've also seen some people get caught out by pit stops around here. So it will be a big decider. And like I said, Joe, if you decide to go here for an early pit stop and find yourself trapped up in traffic, that can be a real detriment and pull you back down the order all kinds of quickly.
Man, some of the rivals in the championship, too, are going to take a big hit today. As we mentioned, Mclaughlin now out. He came in third in the points. Louise Reedy came in fourth in the points. He DNF'd very early in this race. And I think we lost Belval, too, didn't we? Or at least had, yeah, Belval had a big issue. He's all the way down in 18th right now.
Yeah, he's not doing so great, but Belval is able to continue out on. We follow here the 31 machine as he works his way around. One of the few Lamborghinis out here not favored necessarily in this GT Am Series. Does sound fantastic. That is, of course, Chet Miller. Looks like he's about to get passed by Robbie Campbell.
The other Italian mark, the Ferrari, goes by. Campbell up into ninth. I will admit, the chrome looks very good on the Lamborghini. I do appreciate how fancy that feels. And it looks like Richard Swindells is in pit lane. I think this will be a scheduled stop for him.
Think it will indeed, as we have hit that halfway point. So there the Lamborghini trying to fight back a little bit. But this is our highest placed Lambo as of right now. Miller riding around in 10th.
So watching from P3, the 89, just riding behind his teammate. Breton 17th in the points on the way into this race, 87 behind the leader, so not exactly in the hunt for the championship like Norris is. Wonder if there are some team orders happening here, and he's just supposed to hold station for the time being unless something happens to Caven. So we look a little bit behind them. Zanadakis, Horvath is caught back up to him in that 32. They had some good battles earlier. Are they interested in round two?
Well, let's find out here. I always love watching Zanadakis drive, and Horvath definitely on a mission here. He's been able to put a good gap between him and Paul Espina to the tune of about 3 seconds here at this point. There you see Horvath just driving through the Descida do Lago, working his way up the hill. He's now got something to focus on ahead of him.
Looks like Chet Miller decided to pit this lap too. And through the horseshoe. Looks like everybody nice and tidy in this group. That Porsche able to continue on. Let's see. Looks like Claude Belval going to be the highest pitter now, up to 16th with Miller having been in and out. In fact, Miller's just returning to the track right now. There is Belval on your screen. Looks like we've had a penalty for Moreau and for Robertson. Both have been through pit lane without stopping. So I suspect they have hit some incident limits there.
I would imagine they have as well. And with as much bumping and banging as we've seen out here today, I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen a few more drivers come on through.
Breton not close enough, but I think Horvath might be close enough to Zanadakis. Behind them is a little bit of a squiggle there out of the first corner. Did hold up Norris slightly, and definitely some defense from Nikos covering off the inside just to play it safe.
Yeah, just being a little bit careful there. Nikos knows that Horvath has got some speed, really trying to see what he can do here. I don't think Horvath is going to be close enough to maybe get anything here. If he can get a good run there out of the double apex left-hander, he may be able to get something, but I think Nikos has got it covered off for now.
Breton giving watch Norris has got to be steady, because you got to think that if the 89 sees him slip, even though he doesn't want to cost either of them too many points, he's going to try and take a second if it's there. And I see Pablano now also in pit lane, waiting for plenty of others in. We've got maybe 3 or 4 more minutes before that pit window closes.
Yeah, we are certainly going to be closing down in on it here, Joe. I have to imagine everybody's going to be coming in there. Wow, massive damage there for Pablano, just waiting for the rest of the field to come on through.
Going to get back out on the track and be running in 20th place. In fact, I think last one on the lead lap. Norris leading Breton down into the first corner. Neither one pitting in this time. And here we go. Zanidakis and Horvath, with Zanidakis staying ahead. Horvath just making him think about it for sure. You could see once again the 07 just trying to cover him off just to be safe. A good poke of the nose from Devin. Comes back to the racing line down into the Interlagos. Here's his onboard. Another VR user. Let's see if this gives him any sort of advantage here. Yeah, looking down into the turn like you're taught to as a proper racer. Yeah, a lot of looking way into the corner there.
Yeah, really feeling it out. I love being able to see the eye lines on the VR. Very late onto the brakes there. Very late apex for Horvath, putting a whole lot of pressure here to Zanidakis. There you see again. All right, Zanidakis, I think a little bit of a better run there. Let's see how Horvath can handle the junction. Remember, this is where the BMW is able to stretch its legs a little bit. That better horsepower in these higher altitudes coming out to play. But let's see what they can do. Coming around now. Horvath just doesn't look like he's got it.
BMW just too fast today. Now, what struck me as interesting with that onboard with Horvath, he had very smooth steering inputs. We've seen a lot of drivers that have the wheel bobbling back and forth a whole lot, but this was just one steady motion back and forth. Here, let's watch from the helmet cam.
Yeah, keep an eye on those hands as he works it around here. Diving down into the Interlagos. Very smooth. No overcorrections. No little snaps back. Joe, that is what I like to call driving like Jim Clark. Just smooth in one direction on the wheel. That's exactly how you want to do it. Rest assured, he is very kind to those tires, and that'll pay off come race end.
Couple more in pit lane, Langlois and Campbell, but Campbell out very fast. Langlois a little slow. Looks like Burmeister also pitting behind them. And Langlois will actually return to the track as our highest pitter now into 12th position. We continue to watch this fight for 4th place, Zanidakis versus Horvath.
Looking very good. Ooh, little bit of a checkup there, I think, from Horvath, though. Could this be the time that we see one of them dive down into the pits? That is Pablano right ahead of them. That could create a little bit of a change. Neither driver coming into the pits. Oh, this is going to get hairy, Joe.
Does he brake early and let them through? Yes, he does, but it makes him almost 3 wide for a second, and that may be just enough for Horvath to hesitate because he didn't attack as hard as I would have expected.
No, he did not, and I can guarantee you there that that is a massive sigh of relief for Nico Zanidakis. He is praying to Michael Pablano right now, thanking him for saving him on that lap, because I think if he didn't, that was for sure going to be a move by Devin Horvath.
Back to the battle for P2. Norris ahead of Breton. These cars are about 5 seconds ahead of Zanidakis, so they're not really under any sort of threat from them. Scardura pits. Looks like Suin also pits. So a few more cars now affecting service. This is the purple and black ASR AMA cars. come out of the infield, now towards the junction. 10 minutes left on the clock. Is our leader going to come in this time? I'm watching him. He's actually approaching it now. But no, Trepignyet's not just fast. He's able to save quite a bit of fuel. No, Norris and Breton will be the next ones through. Same deal. Neither one pitting in.
And I'm keeping an eye here on Xanadakis and Horvath. Horvath on into the pit. So Horvath will become your highest pitter here out of 5th place.
I mentioned earlier, Langlois is the next one back. So don't think we're going to see Devin be able to or be under threat from losing that one. As the YS Motorsport driver unfortunately did cost himself some time, had to back up. Well, that's really going to put a damper on his battle with Xanadakis, but will it unfortunately cost him another position from behind? He's coming out now, and the good news is he is well into clear air. There's nobody nearby him.
Well, that'll be a little bit of good news and a little bit of bad news. Obviously, missing the stall there is going to really, really hurt Devin. But he did look like he had a relatively quick pit stop comparatively to a lot of drivers. We're seeing some longer ones out there than the 27 seconds cone-to-cone that he had.
And Desjardins with an 18-second stop, 35 cone-to-cone. That is unusual. Wonder if he had to get some damage repaired. Back with Breton off that same corner once again. How long can these guys go? Well, for Trepignyet, this long. Lap 20 marks his pit in. So Trepignyet takes his stop. Norris going to follow him. Yep, this is the end of the pit window. Xanadakis down and in. It's a big crest there at the end of that pit lane. Have to admit, I've actually had some fun taking the Lotus 49 off of that thing. It's one of the spots that you can actually get it to leap into the air.
Yeah, it's a good time to do it, and it is actually really beneficial for drivers as they stop, Joe, because you're coming uphill. You can use the weight of the car to slow you down a little bit, so you can be a little bit later on the brakes, try to save some time coming on through the pits. Oh, Kevin Norris with a mega stop there as they come on out. He's a little bit closer, it looks like.
7.3 seconds for Kevin Norris, but he was leading that pair, which meant he would have had to have been doing a lot of lift and coast because he couldn't have been using the slipstream. Well, this is fascinating. And we're getting his teammate at a 9.4 as well. Horvath did have a unfortunate stop. He was a little longer from cone to cone because of that, having to back up. So Xanadakis is now 3 seconds ahead of him. But we got a fight here in the mid-pack. This is Vargas chasing Swindells and Chet Miller in front of them.
Exactly. It's the battle of the Italian makes here with Lamborghini trying to make the move to the inside of that Ferrari right now. Down to the inside. Looks good. Covers off the crossover. A textbook maneuver for Lucio Vargas.
That'll promote him into 13th. 7 minutes left, and now everybody has stopped. So it is down to passing on the track. We watch from on board the 16. This is one of our best battles out there. All of those that we were witnessing before have spread far apart amongst the top 10.
Yeah, a lot of space out here, a lot of distance being drawn out. It'll be interesting to see if anybody's able to make a hard push here as they come up. That is, by the way, the Ferrari in the background there of Gabriel Moreau, who, if you remember, was involved in some of that early scuffling. He's been able to fight his way back up here for the SDS Racing team.
Well, it's a day of what could have been for the 23. You can see a little bit of that damage on the front of the car as we ride on the roof. This is not going to help on this part of the track where he needs as much top-end speed as he can get. Certainly can't catch up to Swindells. Ahead of them, actually, they're starting to lose touch with Vargas, who set his sights on Miller. And we're looking back at the 87 now. Our overall leader coming up to the line. This is on board with Mclaughlin, who is now a lap down. The first car lap down. He's in 19th position.
Indeed, he is. So he is getting out of the way there of everybody. Like we said, Nick just a little bit slow out there today in that Ford, letting some of those cars get on by.
Keeping a close watch here. Oh, and Vargas already got by Miller. My goodness, that was quick. He jumped away for 1 second. I think that, yeah, that was the pass down into the Interlagos, just outbraked his rival. And now he's going to try and run away. Vargas up from 20th to 11th spot so far. But Chet Miller has gone from 30th to 12th.
Yeah, great run there for Chet, and he looks like he's able to hold out here relatively well, ticking down under 5 minutes to go here at Interlagos. This train right now, this is basically the battle of Italy as it is right now. Moreau looking like he's carrying some good speed. A little bit of weaving there, going down the pit straight. Moreau having a look to the inside, contact. Oh!
And Moreau's gone. That is an incident limit. He has been disqualified. Miller suffers from it. Swindells gets a little bit of it, but he's able to keep going. And Vargas says, you guys have fun. I'm just going to spend a gap here. Let's take one more look at it.
Yeah, so again, this was Swindells just a little bit caught out in the middle here as Moreau tried to come up the inside. That was a very late move for Gabriel Moreau. Yeah, he gets DQ'd there with the incident limit taking him out. Yeah.
Sad to see it ending that way for a driver and also going worse that way for the others. So we come back to Claude Bell Vol. Well, I was a little bit too much of a doomsayer earlier. He's into 9th. I think that early pit stop maybe kind of shrouded what his actual result was going to look like. He did start from 4th, though. He's down to 9th, so it's not been the best of days as we watch from his roof. A 5-position lost is going to send him somewhat backwards in the point standings.
Yeah, indeed it will, but he's done a good job to fight his way back up through the field here, trying to close in on Robbie Campbell ahead of him. Remember, Robbie, the reigning champion of the now late GT4 series here in the Precision Racing League, closing in on the Canadian, as that is, I believe, a lapped Kwok Min right ahead of them.
I just noticed Norris had a bit of a slow lap last time at 33.9. I'm not entirely sure what caused it because that's close to a 1.5 seconds off of his normal pace. Could have been traffic, could have been a slip up. And you can see the results because we're watching him from his teammate who was 2 to 3 seconds behind just a moment ago.
Yeah, indeed he is. So Breton now starting to close that in. We've got a little bit of a battle here for the final podium positions. Oh! That's Norris coming into the pits. Is that a penalty, Joe?
Oh, no. It might be, or it might be that he short-fueled it too much. I think it's fuel. He's looking for his stall. Oh. Caven, unfortunately, calculating wrong. And he doesn't look too pleased about it. Yeah, splash and dash. He's off. I don't think he's even going to be finishing the top 5 because Espina's coming up close behind him. It's going to be tight. He might be able to get out. Yeah, I think he's just going to edge Paul and be able to hold on to that 5th spot. But it could have been another podium. This will actually be the worst result of the season for Caven if he finishes where he sits now.
Well, to a lot of drivers, a 5th place would be a good thing, but with the season that Caven Norris has been having, obviously not the best result for him, and in a heartbreaking fashion here to lose out like that. We focus back in on that battle with Bubble and Robbie Campbell. Bubble just trying to close in a little bit. Ooh, a little bit of a wide run there for Robbie Campbell.
Campbell has got to watch out here. Late in the race, drivers are going to be aggressive. They're going to want to get moves done, and Claude Bell Vol who's already lost plenty of spots, would like to get them back. We're down to 1 minute to go, and our leader just crossed the line. So it is now the white flag for Trepanier.
It is indeed. Vincent Trepanier leading this thing pretty much flag to flag. A commanding performance yet again, as we are frankly used to seeing here from that 87 BMW.
This is going to be a great finish for Breton. His best of the season. Previously, his highest was 7th place, so his first podium. And Breton going to shoot himself up the order. But Trepanier, I saw him weaving a bit there for a second on the way down towards the horseshoe. I wouldn't think that he short-fueled it. He had no reason to try and cut that close.
9.0 stop for him, so I'm not entirely sure there, Joe. We'll have to see how this pans out. I've got to think he would have tried to cover off all bases. Yeah, he's not clutching. He thinks he's got it.
Yeah, maybe he was just celebrating a little bit there. Can't do that too prematurely. I've seen that go wrong, both in the real world and in the sim. So the 87 off the final turn and up the hill. It will be 4 for 5 for Vincent Trepanier here in the GT3 Amateur Series. Victory at Interlagos for Vincent Trepanier.
A commanding drive, and we are getting so used to saying it. Another win for Trepanier, as that's Nick Mclaughlin there in the background having some fun crossing the line. We jump back here to that battle for P8. Belval trying to close in on Robbie Campbell through the final stages of this lap. Not sure if he's going to be able to do it. He'll have one more shot.
It's a little far back, though. Belval 0.6 of a second behind the Canadian. I can tell you that Norris did finish in 5th, Breton 2nd, Zanadakis in 3rd. Yeah, I don't think we've got anything for the 33 unless Campbell himself runs out of fuel. It was a slightly short stop, but this looks okay at this stage. Campbell 8th, Belval in 9th. Miller and Swindell is going to try and wrap this up for 13th, but we only have 13 cars left on the lead lap after 31 drivers took to the start line. And I think that Chrome Lambo is going to be able to hold off Swindell's. Yeah, Swindell's just not nearly close enough, so that's going to be 13th for Chet. That's going to take us to a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there. and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an advanced sim racing customer.
Welcome back to Interlagos. The last of our races here this week, was won by Vincent Trepanier from the pole. How about Alexander Breton, though? He was with his teammate for much of the race and went from 9th to 2nd, with Nico Xanadakis likewise 10th to 3rd for him. So the podium came from a long ways back. Horvath in 4th went from 17th to 4th position. Kevin Norris finished in 5th after an extra pit stop was very costly. Paul Espina was 6th, and Jean-Claude Langlois was in 7th. And it was Robbie Campbell 8th after starting from 19th on the grid, and Claude Bell finished 9th. Then you've got Marc-Andre Desjardins finishing 10th.
In 11th, it was Lucio Vargas, followed by Bowie Suin, with Chet Miller in 13th and Richard Swindells in 14th. Kyle Robertson came home 15th, followed by Jason Burmeister, with Fabio Scardura in 17th, and the last driver on the lead lap. Michael Pavolano was able to bring the car home in 18th, followed by the lone forward in the field, Nick Mclaughlin, and Philippe Magnan was 20th.
Then it was Gabriel Moreau in 21st, a DNF, unfortunately, due to too many incident points. Quoc Ninh managed to finish 22nd, but he was 6 laps down. After that, it was all DNFs for your drivers. It was a attrition-heavy day here in the AMs, unfortunately. But I believe we have one of our non-podium finishers, Devin Horvath, with quite the climb, going from 17th to 4th, ready to talk to us. Devin, congratulations. You saw a lot of the craziness out there. In fact, we covered the group that you were in the early stages of the race. That seemed like every time we look back, positions had changed.
Yeah, it was, there wasn't very many dull moments, that's for sure. I managed just to stay clean and to stay consistent, so.
Is that the main thing you credit for getting from 17th to 4th? That's quite the climb, and hadn't really expected you to be someone that was making that big of an improvement in the race.
No, qualifying was really disappointing. I should have been way farther up, and but starting 17th, I figured just to take it easy and be consistent, and hopefully some people made some mistakes in front of me, and that was the case, so.
Yeah, it's all worked out in the end, I suppose. But we head off to the Nürburgring, and thankfully it's not the Nordschleife. It's at the Grand Prix course. You think you can back this up by getting back onto the podium?
Yeah, I really hope so. I don't have any experience at the track, so it'll be another busy week of practice.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out for you. Congratulations on a top 5 out there today. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the YS Motorsports, my teammate Ethan, and Sean for helping me with the setups this season.
That was Devin Horvath for YS Motorsports, finishing 4th. And up next, it looks like a driver who didn't have the best of days was Quoc Ninh. DJ has caught up with him.
Yeah, Quoc, was a bit of a tough race out there for you, but talk me through that.
Well, I mean, the first couple of laps was actually really fun. I really enjoyed it with being side by side, really close up to the cars. I was right down the chicane. I saw they were head to head, and I felt like instant was going to happen. Sure enough, it did. But I was trying to slow down to avoid the incident, but I guess I misjudged where the other driver was going to be at turn 3.
So you obviously got back out on track after that, went through and continued to fight the best you could, coming home 22nd. How do you sort of reset your mind to come back out on track after an incident like that?
Well, when I went into the pits, I had repairs of up to 10 minutes. No, which is not too bad. I could still finish up the race. What kept me going was the team points. Even though I couldn't get to the top 10, top 5, I want to keep going for the team. Especially since invited Nico to the team, which he ended up in 3rd place, so that would help out the team points.
Well, focusing forward onto the Nürburgring, how do you think it's going to go there? Obviously hoping for a better result than was out here today.
Well, that track is actually not the best track I'm great at. I'm not even sure if I'll be racing it on that track next week because I got to set in my equipment for some repair.
Well, all right. We wish you all the best of luck, even though it's not one of your best. But anybody you'd like to thank for the run today?
I want to thank the team for doing their best, and my family, you guys, PRL. And that's about it.
Well, all right. That was Kwok Nin, who had a rough day out there, came home in 22nd. Joe?
Up next, we've got our 3rd place finisher, Nico Zanidakis, who also got involved in all the craziness early on, but survived it by getting ahead before it all came to a head. So, Nico, did you manage to catch in your mirrors everybody tripping over one another, or did you not know until well after the race?
I saw them in my rearview mirror. I'm glad I didn't get mixed up with everybody. I tried to do my best to survive the first 3 to 5 laps always. But I knew how to take my chance over there to get up to 4th when I had it.
This was an action-packed week here at this track. The GT Pros, the Ferrari Challenge, and you guys with the GTMs all had some of the most exciting racing that we have seen in a while. What do you think made this track such a good fit for these cars?
I don't know. I think it's a good group of guys that we're racing with, and they also race safe, at least the ones that I'm racing with. So there's a little bit of trust. Nobody's going to do anything crazy, so it's been nice. Yeah.
You've had a bit of back and forth before this, where you started with the DNF, and then you had a decent finish round 2, and only 2 points round 3, and the 31 in round 4. But you back it up with a podium. You going to try and make a new pattern, see if you can keep finishing top 5s?
Yeah, that's the plan. I'm hoping so. I'm putting in a lot of work, building my setups, practicing during the week, qualifying setup and separate race setups. So it's been working so far. So we'll see what happens next week.
All right. Well, best of luck on that, especially with those setups. And anybody you want to give a shout out to that helped make this podium possible?
Sure. My new team, Parallel Racing, all the sponsors of PRL, friends and family. That's it.
There you go. That's Nico Zanidakis. And that's going to wrap us up. And a big thank you goes out to our sponsors for this series, which includes ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. And RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app. As well as ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebutkicker.com. And SimMSA. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SimMSA.net. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks goes out to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more awesome work. Thanks to the team today, DJ, Ryan, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed here on the screen. Also, check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. The next race is going to be Spa for the Ferraris and Nürburgring for the GT3 AMs. That'll be October 26th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen. So check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.